Are we seeing the revitalization of conservative civilization? All over the world, there's been a massive backlash against globalization, its leftist leadership, and its anti-cultural liberal values. And it's just the beginning. I'm Dr. Steve Turley. I believe the liberal globalist world is at its brink, and a new conservative age is rising. Join me every day as we examine these worldwide trends, discover answers to today's toughest challenges, and together learn to live in the present in light of even better things to come. This is Turley Talks. Look at these Democrats. Where are your masks? Look at them. Look at those cruel, callous smiles. Don't they know there's a pandemic going on? No matter. These Democrats are going to find themselves in handcuffs for reasons other than their nauseating COVID hypocrisy. The Texas governor has publicly ordered the arrest of these fleeing Democrats. We're going to take a look at why they fled Texas and the law that mandates their arrest. You're going to have a chance to tell us what you think of these Democrats in the comments below. And stick with me to the very end, because we're going to find out exactly why these Democrat antics are absolutely and utterly doomed. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. I am your daily fake news antidote, as each and every day we provide patriotic analysis to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. So you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott has announced that the 58 state Democrats who fled Texas for the swamp for Washington, D.C. in an effort to filibuster election reform legislation will indeed be arrested upon their return to the state. The 58 Democratic legislators fled Texas after their special session started a few days back to vote on a host of Republican-backed bills, one of which involves implementing strict voter integrity guidelines throughout the state. Now that, of course, according to the twisted logic of Democrats, is an existential threat to our democracy. Things like voter ID, address verification, bans on ballot harvesting. These, my friends, are the single greatest assaults on our democratic republic in the history of mankind, or humankind if you're Justin Trudeau. Governor Abbott, on the other hand, is calling these Democrats a bunch of cowards who are running away and cowering from a fight, which, in his words, is the most un-Texan thing you can think of. Texans running away from a fight. Abbott told Fox News' Laura Ingraham, quote, "They are quitters. It's like during a football game or baseball game, taking their equipment when they're way behind and they just leave the field." And so while the Democrats' stunt has indeed shut down the legislative session for the time being, since they need a 2/3 attendance quorum to conduct business, nevertheless, Governor Abbott is promising that these Democrats will indeed be arrested upon their inevitable return to Texas. Abbott said that they would be arrested under a mechanism known as a call of the House, which is a tool that allows cops to track down lawmakers who have fled the chamber. And once arrested, these Democrats will be cabined inside the Texas Capitol until they get their job done. Now, when these Democrats are arrested, this is not going to be the first time a Democrat has been arrested in relation to these election integrity laws. A Democrat lawmaker in Georgia was recently arrested during the signing of their historic voter integrity reforms. Democrat Representative Park Cannon was arrested after she tried to interfere in the signing of the bill by Governor Brian Kemp. Cannon was charged with obstruction of law enforcement and disruption of the General Assembly. So it seems that Democrats getting arrested is now becoming par for the course in the midst of this battle over election integrity, which of course they steadfastly oppose. They oppose any and all measures of voter verification as a moral threat to democracy. Needless to say, leftists are hailing these Democrats as heroes for this stunt, calling it a brave and selfless act aimed at saving our democracy. The ultra-leftist Rob Reiner, meathead from All in the Family, tweeted out, "The Texas Democrats have come to D.C. to save our democracy." Sorry. They've come to save our democracy. They and all of us are looking to the United States Senate to pass voting rights. 245 years of self-rule depends on it. Now, do you want to take a guess at how Meathead wants to do this? How he wants the Senate to pass voting rights? Do you want to take a guess on that? According to the warped world of Rob Meathead Reiner, how is the Senate supposed to pass H.R. 1, the Democrats' so-called voting rights legislation? By getting rid of the filibuster. It does not seem to occur to him that these effing Democrats who Rob Reiner is hailing are heroes for doing what? What are they doing in the Texas legislature? They're filibustering. Rules for thee, not for me. That's the world of the left-wing radicals like Rob Reiner and these Democrats. It's literally beyond absurd. Mike Cernovich, on the other hand, gives us a dose of reality. He pointed out the pathetically obvious flying maskless in a private jet is a sacrifice, according to Texas Democrats. The permanent political class, ladies and gentlemen, ruling for their own benefit. They could not give a rip about you. They couldn't give a rip about voting rights. They couldn't give a rip about their constituencies. They are all in it for their own power. Now, Governor Abbott has no choice but to play hardball on this one. His Republican constituents are going to demand it because they frankly had it with these leftist private jet flying lunatics, right? These limousine liberals, these champagne socialists. And this is most especially the case given that next year is Texas's gubernatorial election. And Abbott's got some competition. I'm sure many of you heard that Allen West is challenging Abbott in the Republican primaries in a deliberate effort to push the governor further to the right, and it seems to be working. We did a video you'll definitely want to watch on Governor Abbott's announcement that the state of Texas is building and finishing President Trump's border wall. And I did another video that you'll want to check out. It's going to make your day on all the different measures the state of Texas is taking to secure the border in the face of bumbling Biden's ridiculous incompetence. Not to mention Kamala's, by the way. That video is going to make your day. Particularly, we are seeing Texas officials arresting and jailing not just Democrats, but illegal border crossers throughout the state. If you don't know, Governor Abbott has declared a state of emergency in 34 counties along or near the state's southern border in response to Biden's absolute immigration disaster, where they're seeing a flood of drugs and gang members crossing the border illegally into Texas. And these emergency powers are allowing Abbott to take extraordinary measures to secure the rule of law along the southern border, all as Joe Biden, of course, naps. But here's where it all comes down to. These ridiculous Democrat antics are all ultimately for naught. I know the left-wing activists disguised as journalists in our mainstream media are all touting and championing this liberal lunacy. But frankly, they're the only ones. And they're not convincing anyone. Look at these stats. Look! This is from Rasmussen back in March, just a couple of months back. Or if you're Joe Biden, 15 months back. 75% of likely voters support precisely the kind of requirements mandated by the Texas legislation that these Democrats oppose. 75% of voters support what Democrats oppose. Let that hit you. And just in case you think this is another example of just how racist America is, that number includes 69% of black voters. 69% of black voters, 75% of voters overall support precisely the kind of voter ID requirements that these Democrats are doing everything they possibly can to oppose. There's no way around this. The Democrats have lost the election integrity debate. They've lost, hands down. And there's not a single stunt, there are no antics that can ultimately do anything to change that. Now, before you go, you will definitely want to check out my latest video I just uploaded on whether Larry Elder can turn California red. He's just announced his candidacy for governor. And we take a bit of a deep dive into the prospects of Larry winning. You're not going to want to miss it, so make sure to click on the link, and I will see you on over there. God bless. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Turley Talks podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, and share this episode with your friends. Help us defeat the fake news media and rank as the #1 news and commentary podcast all over the world. Come back again tomorrow for another episode celebrating the rise of a new conservative age.